Imagine waking up tomorrow to find our whole civilization gone. Cities empty, technology lost, and all our greatest achievements forgotten. It sounds like a story, but this has happened many times in human history. What force could be so powerful to wipe out entire civilizations? And what can these lost cultures teach us about our own future? In this documentary, we explore lost civilization. We look at what they built, the challenges they faced, and why they fell. Get ready to uncover thousands of years of history lost until now. Göbekli Tepe, humanity's first monument. Picture a time when mammoths walked the earth and people lived in simple groups. In southeast Turkey, some hunter-gatherers started a huge project. They built Göbekli Tepe, a massive stone structure. It is thousands of years older than the pyramids of Egypt. Göbekli Tepe means potly hill in Turkish. This site changed how we see early human skills. It has huge stone pillars set in circles. Some weigh as much as 20 tons. These T-shaped pillars stand very tall and are carved with animals and symbols. The skill shown in these carvings is far beyond what we thought possible for that time. Found in the 1990s, Göbekli Tepe shocked experts. How could hunter-gatherers make something so complex? Tests show it is over 11,000 years old. It was built before pottery, metal tools, or the wheel. Strangely, no one seems to have lived there full time. There are no houses or signs of daily life. Experts think it was a place for ceremony or ritual, a meeting spot for groups across the area. Building it needed lots of people and good organization. Moving and raising huge stones without wheels or animals is amazing. This makes us rethink what early societies could do. We used to think farming came first, then big buildings. But Göbekli Tepe hints that social and religious life may have come first. Digs continue today, finding new layers and clues. The animal carvings, lions, bulls, foxes, birds, show us the world of our ancestors. Dogger Land, Europe's sunken heartland. Think of a wide plain linking Britain to Denmark, now under the North Sea. This was Dogger Land, where our ancestors lived, hunted, and thrived. About 18,000 years ago, as the Ice Age ended, Dogger Land appeared. Melting ice made a green land of hills, rivers, and forests. It was a perfect place for hunter-gatherers, full of animals and resources. For thousands of years, people lived there fishing and hunting. But the story of Dogger Land is one of slow change and then disaster. As the world warmed, sea levels rose. The land got smaller, becoming islands. Then around 8,200 years ago, disaster came. A huge underwater landslide near Norway caused a giant wave. This wave plus rising seas drowned Dogger Land for good. For ages it was forgotten under the sea, but now we are finding its secrets. New tools let us map the old land under the water. We can see its rivers, hills, and valleys. Divers have found stone tools, bones, and even human remains. These things connect us to the people who lived there. In 1931, a fishing boat caught a carved antler tool. This ancient spear point shows great skill. It changes how we see these early people. Studying Dogger Land teaches us how people adapt to big environmental change. As seas rose, they may have built boats or moved. Their stories about human strength in a changing world. Dogger Land was also a land bridge linking Britain to Europe. Its loss changed how people and animals moved. The Liangzhu culture of China. About 5,000 years ago, a great society rose in China's Yangtze River Delta. The Liangzhu culture thrived from 3300 to 2300 BCE. They were an advanced Neolithic people. The city Liangzhu was a wonder of early planning. Think of a big city with many canals, reservoirs, and huge walls. They built a complex water system for farms, floods, and travel. But they were also amazing artists, especially with jade. They made beautiful jade discs and tubes. These were not just decorations, they had deep spiritual meaning. The disc may have stood for the sky, the tube for the earth. Liangzhu society had clear social classes. Rich tombs hold jade, fine pottery, and even sacrificed people. This shows a society with rulers and complex ritual. Their power was built on rice. They were master rice farmers. This surplus food let people specialize in jobs like jade working. Then around 2300 BCE this culture suddenly fell. The city was left empty, canals filled with mud. Some think huge floods from climate change caused the end. It shows how even advanced societies can be fragile. Today Yangzhou is a UNESCO site. It helps us understand early Chinese civilization. Atlantis, myth and reality. From ancient Greek philosophy comes a tale that has fascinated people for ages. Atlantis, a legendary advanced society said to have sunk beneath the sea. The story of this perfect place lost to the water has inspired many theories and searches. Plato first wrote about Atlantis. He described a rich society with great technology and a strong military. Atlantis was a sea-power ruling many lands. The city had rings of land and water, great palaces and canals. Why does this story last so long? Maybe because we wonder if such a society really existed. Or maybe it is a warning. Plato said their pride and moral fall caused their end. The idea that a great civilization can rise and vanish reminds us of our own fragility. For centuries people have looked for Atlantis. Some say it was in the Mediterranean, others the Caribbean, or even Antarctica. One real-world link is the ancient Minoan civilization on Crete. Around 1600 BCE a huge volcano erupted on Thera and now Santorini. This disaster hurt the Minoans, who were advanced sailors. Some think this event inspired the Atlantis legend, but many experts see Atlantis as just a myth. They say Plato used the story to teach about society and morals. Still, the search goes on, showing our lasting interest in lost worlds. The Atlantis legend makes us ask what other advanced societies were lost long ago. Mohenjo-Daro and the Indus Valley civilization. Picture a city with advanced planning, good plumbing, and mysterious customs from 2500 BC. Welcome to Mohenjo-Daro, a real wonder that matches the myth of Atlantis. Mohenjo-Daro in modern Pakistan was a major city of the Indus Valley civilization. This ancient city spread over 250 acres and housed about 40,000 people. What makes it special is its smart layout. The city was built on a grid with straight, wide streets. This level of planning was amazing for its time. The streets had two-story houses made of standard baked bricks. One of the best features was its drainage system. Covered drains ran by the streets linked to homes. The sanitation was ahead of its time, even better than some places today. At the city center is the Great Bath, a large public water tank. It was watertight with fine bricks and tar. This structure likely had religious or ceremonial importance. Finds at the site include carved seals, figurines, and pottery. These show artistic skill and wide trade networks. Similar items found in Mesopotamia prove trade links. But one big mystery remains: their writing. The Indus script found on seals is not yet decoded. Without writing, we must guess about their society and beliefs. Mohenjo-Daro and the Indus Valley culture declined around 1900 BCE. Why this happened is debated. Theories include climate change, river shifts, or invasions. The once great city was left empty, slowly reclaimed by earth. Dwarka, India's mythical sunken city. Off the coast of Gujarat, at India, an underwater wonder challenges myth and history. Welcome to Dwarka, where legends of golden palaces may have truth beneath the waves. Dwarka is important in Indian myth, said to be founded by Lord Krishna. For ages it was just a story, but now underwater finds suggest more. Recent searches off Gujarat that show signs of an old port city. Divers found stone anchors, wall pieces, and pottery on the seabed. These finds point to a busy harbor from around 1500 BCE or earlier. The stone anchors show a developed port with ships from far lands. So what happened to this city? Myths say it was destroyed by divine power. Science suggests rising seas, earthquakes, or disasters. It shows the constant battle between people and nature. Finding Dwarka blurs the line between myth and history. It asks how much legend is based on real events. A real Dwarka does not prove every story, but suggests a kernel of truth. Studying Dwarka gives rare clues about ancient Indian life and trade. The underwater site is a time capsule of daily life and architecture. It opens a window to India's maritime past and old trade routes. The NOK West Africa's hidden legacy. From the savannas of West Africa comes a culture of art and innovation. Picture detailed terracotta heads with complex hairstyles looking out from the soil after 2,000 years. These are not just art, they are windows to a lost world. The NOK culture thrived in modern Nigeria from 1500 BCE to 500 CE. They were masters of terracotta, making figures of people and animals with great detail. These sculptures with expressive faces likely had deep religious or symbolic meaning. Their art put NOK culture at the front of early African art, influencing later generations. But the NOK were also pioneers in metalwork. They were among the first in West Africa to smelt iron, making tools and weapons. This technology changed the region, shaping West African civilization. NOK society was based on farming, hunting, and Daro work. They lived in organized settlements across the savannah. Yet around 500 CE, the NOK culture faded. Reasons are unclear. Maybe climate change, overuse of resources, or invasions. Their legacy lived on, influencing later cultures like If and Benin. Their art styles and iron skills spread across the region. Sadly, many NOK artifacts have been looted and sold. This robs us of history and steals heritage from their descendants. The NOK story reminds us of Africa's rich and complex past. It shows innovation and art developed independently in Africa long ago. The Hittites, masters of the Bronze Age, while the NOK thrived in West Africa, another power rose in Anatolia. The Hittites became a major force in the Bronze Age, nearly rivaling Egypt and Mesopotamia. Their story begins around 1600 BC in modern Turkey. The Hittites were innovators in war and technology. They mastered chariot warfare, using light, fast chariots to win battles. This let them conquer lands across Anatolia and the Levant. They were also among the first to use iron, widely helping start the Iron Age. Their capital, Hattusili, was a marvel with huge stone walls. The city had temples, palaces, and a smart water system, with dams and reservoirs. The Hittites were also skilled diplomats. In 1259 BCE, they signed a peace treaty with Egypt. This is the world's first known peace treaty. It ended fighting and set up defense and extradition rules. Hittite laws were advanced for their time. They had rules for compensating crime victims and rehabilitating criminals. The Hittite Empire was religiously tolerant, adding gods of conquered peoples to their own. This helped keep peace across their diverse lands. Yet around 1180 BCE, the Hittite Empire fell suddenly. This was part of the wider Late Bronze Age collapse. Reasons may include invasions by the Sea Peoples, internal fights, or environmental change. The Hittites were lost to history for centuries, known only from brief mentions. In the late 1800s, archaeologists rediscovered Hattusili and decoded their writing. This revealed a great empire hidden for ages. The Elamites of ancient Iran. The Elamites of Iran were a powerful empire, rivaling Mesopotamia, yet few know their name. Their story challenges what we know about early civilization. The Elamites rose in southwest Iran around 2700 BC, one of the oldest in the Near East. They built great cities like Susa, political and cultural hub for thousands of years. Think of a city older than ancient Egypt, with markets, temples, and palaces. They mixed their own traditions with influences from Mesopotamia. We see this blend in their art and architecture. They also adopted cuneiform writing from the Sumerians, but created their own script too. This early writing helped them build a complex society with good administration. Their cities were centers of progress. The Elamites advanced farming in a tough land and built wide trade networks. This wealth let them create an organized society with different social classes. They were key players in regional politics, allying or fighting with Akkadian Babylonians and Assyrians. For over 2,000 years, the Elamites were a major power. But in 539 BCE, Persian King Cyrus the Great conquered Elam. This ended their independence, but not their cultural influence. Many Elamite ways were absorbed into the Persian Empire. Much about the Elamites remains a mystery. Their civilization shows us the complex web of the ancient world. As we learn more, we understand better the origins of civilization itself. Tartsos, Spain's legendary civilization. Imagine a kingdom so rich in metals, its wealth became legend. Welcome to Tartsos, the forgotten golden land of ancient Spain. In the sunny hills of southern Spain, this advanced culture once rivaled Mediterranean powers. But why did it vanish without a trace? The story starts around 1200 BCE in southwest Iberia, modern Andalusia. This area had lots of gold, silver and copper. The Tartessians were experts at getting and working these metals. Their skill made jewelry and bronze figures that impressed even Greece and Egypt. Tartsos was also a trade hub at the mouth of the Guadalquivir River. Ships from Phoenicia, Greece and elsewhere came to trade for metals. This brought wealth and new ideas, shaping their unique culture. One fascinating part is their writing. The Tart SS script is one of the oldest in Western Europe. It mixes local invention with influences likely from the Phoenician alphabet. Stone slabs with these symbols give clues to their thoughts and beliefs. The Greeks wrote about Tartsos as a land of great wealth and long life. They told of King Anthonius, whose name means silver man. Legend says he ruled 80 years and lived to 120. While we doubt the details, it shows the Tartsos inspired. Archaeology shows a sophisticated urban society. They built planned cities with good sanitation, big public buildings and strong walls. They were skilled farmers using the fertile land near the river. Most impressive, they managed water well with irrigation systems and artificial lakes. Despite success, arts declined around 500 BCE. Reasons are debated, maybe environmental change from overuse or shifting trade routes as Carthage rose. The Lost Kingdom reminds us of the fragile balance between people and their environment. The Lycian S, the forgotten democracy of Anatolia. In southwest Anatolia, modern Turkey, the Lycian S were a unique and influential people. Their story spans from the late Bronze Age into Roman times. The Lycian S were innovators in politics, creating an early form of democracy long before Athens. They formed a federation of city-states run by a shared assembly. This system allowed representation and group decisions, unlike many neighbors ruled by kings. The Lycian S were also masters of art and architecture, especially for the dead. Lycian tombs carved into cliffs or built as huge stone coffins are stunning. They look like small temples or houses meant to honor the dead forever. Today, these tombs are iconic symbols drawing visitors worldwide. The Lycian language, an Indo-European tongue, gives another clue to their culture. They had their own script based on Greek letters. Inscriptions on tombs, coins and artifacts tell of names, family and religion. Located on major trade routes, the Lycian S met Greeks, Persians and later Romans. This contact enriched their society, blending local and foreign ideas. Yet they kept a distinct identity for most of their history. The Lycian S were also fierce fighters. In the Persian Wars, they joined the Greeks against Persia, showing naval skill and determination. But like many, they fell to a greater power, Rome. The Roman Empire absorbed Lycia, ending independence, but not cultural influence. Lycian art, architecture and some political ideas lived on under Roman rule. The Nabateans beyond Petra ate as an empire. The Nabateans, an Arab people, built an empire beyond their famous capital Petra. Their story began around the 4th century BCE in the dry lands of the Near East. The Nabateans were master traders, controlling vital routes linking Arabia to the Mediterranean. These desert roads moved precious goods like spices and incense, making them wealthy and powerful. But how did they thrive in such a harsh environment? Their answer was incredible ingenuity, especially with water. They built smart water systems with dams, canals, and aqueducts. These cut and moved rainwater, allowing farming and supporting towns. Their capital Petra shows their building skill, carved into red sandstone cliffs. Structures like the treasury and the monastery blend Hellenistic and local styles. But Petra was more than pretty. It was a busy city and key trade hub. The Nabateans had a rich religious life, worshipping many gods like Dushara and Alus Eza. They built temples and held complex rituals. They adapted well, adopting Greek and Roman architectural styles, laws and coins while keeping their identity. An Nabatean power peaked around the 1st century CE. But in 106 CE, a Roman Emperor Trajan took their kingdom, ending political independence. Yet their cultural impact lasted spread under Roman rule. Their story is one of adaptation and resilience in a challenging world. The Garamontes of the Sahara, pioneers of the desert. Picture a busy city with stone buildings, advanced farms and trade networks. Now imagine it in the Sahara 3,000 years ago. The Garamontes to be impossible, turning the harsh desert into a thriving oasis. Their story begins around 1000 BCE in modern Libya. They created a sophisticated society that lasted nearly 2,000 years. Their secret was under the sand, an underground irrigation system called fogueiras. These tunnels tapped groundwater, bringing it to the surface. This let them grow wheat, barley and dates in a place where little else could live. With steady food, they built permanent settlements. Their capital Gerame had stone buildings and planned streets rivaling cities in better climates. They were not simple nomads, but an organized society with advanced culture. The Garamontes also became famous traders linking sub-Saharan Africa to the Mediterranean. Their caravans carried gold, salt, slaves, and exotic goods across the desert. This trade brought wealth and cultural exchange. They kept a distinct culture with their own language and script, though much remains unread today. But the very systems that helped them thrive led to decline. Overusing water through fogueiras or as drained underground sources. As water dried up, environmental pressure grew. External threats from expanding empires added to the crisis. Around 700 CE, the civilization faded, a lesson in balancing with nature. The Etruscans, Rome's cultural ancestors. The Etruscans challenge what we know about the roots of Roman civilization. These mysterious people thrived and sank, literally from 900 BCE to 100 BCE. They were more than neighbors to Rome, they guided the birth of an empire. The Etruscans built advanced city-states, like Dwarka and Veii. These were well planned with walls and impressive architecture. Walking their streets, you would see stone buildings and good drains. These engineering ideas later inspired Roman builders. Etruscan art was vibrant with detailed pottery, lifelike bronzes and colorful frescoes. They showed scenes of joy and life, unlike the stricter art of others. Their bronze mirrors with myth scenes give glimpses of daily life and beliefs. The Etruscans were skilled engineers, mastering the arch, a key feature later in Roman building. Next time you see a Roman aqueduct, remember the Etruscans led the way. Religion was central to their society. Their practices like divination and rituals shaped daily life. Etruscan priests read signs from the gods, influencing Roman religious traditions. Romans adopted many Etruscan gods and customs. The Etruscan language, though partly decoded, remains mostly a mystery. Their alphabet from Greek letters is found on artifacts and tombs. We can read the words but not always understand their full meaning. As Rome grew, it absorbed Etruscan cities, ending their political independence. But their cultural influence lived on in Roman art, architecture, religion, and governance. The Etruscans were Rome's cultural ancestors, providing models for urban living, engineering, and art. Even as their civilization faded, their ideas lived on through the Roman Empire. The lost city of Ubar Arabia es Atlantis. From the sands comes a tale blurring myth and reality. Imagine a city so rich it was said to be built on gold, yet so lost it was thought a myth. This is Yubar, the Atlantis of the Psalms, a legendary city in the Arabian desert. Yubar's origins are mysterious, but its importance is clear. It was a vital hub in the frankincense trade linking Arabia to Rome, Persia, and India. Frankincense, a fragrant resin, was precious, used in religion, medicine, and as luxury. Yubar's location let it control this trade, gaining great wealth and power. Tales spoke of a city of golden gems with water in the desert, but as stories go, Yubar's fate was dark. Legend says its people grew proud and sinful, so the city was punished, buried by sand. For centuries, Yubar was a mystery debated by scholars. Then, in the late 1900s, satellite images showed old caravan routes meeting at a site in Oman. Digs at a place called Des are found ruins of an ancient settlement. They found a fortified structure around a large water source crucial in the desert. This oasis would have been a stop for caravans. Pottery and artifacts suggested a thriving community for centuries. So what caused its fall? Not divine punishment, but perhaps more ordinary disasters. Water supplies may have run out, or a limestone cavern under the city collapsed. Shifts in trade routes might have made Yubar less important. The story of Yubar reminds us how fragile settlements are, especially in harsh lands. It shows the importance of water and how societies can rise and fall with their environment. Monte Alban, the Zapotec mountain city. From the Mexican highlands comes a tale of ancient skill and urban greatness. Perched on a flattened mountain, Monte Alban shows the building power of the Zapotec civilization. This remarkable city, one of the earliest in Mesoamerica, thrived over 1,000 years. Monte Alban's story starts around 500 BCE in the Oaxaca Valley. The Zapotecs showed great engineering, leveling a mountaintop to create a huge plateau for their city. This took much labor and planning, showing their organizational skill. The city layout reveals smart urban design. A large central plaza was heart of the city, surrounded by temples, palaces, and an observatory. The observatory shows their interest in the stars and tracking sky events. Stone carvings, like the famous Dams Antes or dancers, puzzle experts. These twisted figures, once thought to be dancers, may show war captives' rituals or medical conditions. Their true meaning is still debated, adding mystery to Monte Alban. The Zapotecs' intellectual feats were also impressive. They developed an early writing system in the Americas. Their calendar, likely influenced by other Mesoamerican cultures, shows advanced time knowledge. Monte Alban's hilltop location gave a commanding view of valleys. This helped defense and control of trade routes. The city became a trade hub, exchanging goods and ideas with other cultures. Evidence shows contact with the Olmecs and Teotihuacan. For over 1,000 years, Monte Alban thrived as the Zapotec heart. But around 850 CE, the great city declined. Reasons are unclear, maybe political fragmentation, resource depletion, or rising rival powers. The story of Monte Alban is one of human ingenuity in a dramatic landscape. Dwarka, the Andes' forgotten power. High in the Andes, near Lake Titicaca, lies proof of human ingenuity. Dwarka. This city flourished from 400 CE to 1000 CE, a marvel of engineering in a tough place. At an altitude where breathing is hard, this pre-Columbian metropolis became a center of culture, religion, and trade. Its monumental architecture still amazes. The Gateway of the Sun, a huge stone arch with carvings, is a focal point. The colors as a yacht emblem dock upon a pyramid show advanced stone cutting. Massive stones fit so well without mortar, you cannot slip an knife between them. But Dwarka was more than big buildings. Its city plan shows smart use of space and social order. Wide streets and expansive plazas suggest a bustling city. The raised field farming system let them grow crops in the harsh altiplano. This innovation with irrigation supported a large population and allowed trade surplus. Dwarka's influence reached far as a hub for cultural and economic exchange. Its reach stretched from northern Chile to southern Peru. Artifacts far away show Dwarka style, hinting at a vast network. Religion was central to society, linked to daily life. City layout and buildings show connection to astronomy and cosmology. Viracocha, a creator god, was key, shown in stone carvings and pottery. Rituals, likely including human sacrifice, to keep cosmic order and farm fertility. But Dwarka's reign did not last. Around 1000 CE, the city declined fast. Long droughts, maybe from climate change, stressed farm systems. Environmental damage from overuse weakened the city. Political fragmentation from these pressures led to abandonment. Yet Dwarka's legacy lived on. The Incas centuries later respected the ruins, adding elements to their own culture. They saw it as work of gods or ancestors, showing Dwarka's lasting impact. The Maya of Köpen collapse in the jungle. From the jungles of Honduras comes a tale of grandeur and mystery. Köpen, a great Maya city, thrived from 400 CE to 900 CE. This ancient metropolis showed the skill and art of its creators. Köpen's skyline had tall temples and palaces with stepped pyramids, but what set it apart were carved stone slabs and hieroglyphic stairways. These were not just deck, or they recorded city history, rulers, and Maya beliefs. The city was ruled by a powerful dynasty of kings. Each king added to Köpen's growth and splendor. They were seen as divine links between people and God. Their reign saw big building projects, expanding the ceremonial center. But Köpen was more than looks. Its people were intellectual giants. The Maya of Köpen developed advanced math and astronomy, rivaling any in the world. They tracked stars accurately, making calendars predicting eclipses far ahead. Their writing was equally impressive. The Maya script, with complex glyphs, recorded history, myths, and astronomy. This writing gives modern scholars key insights into Maya culture. Life in Köpen was also about trade and craft. Artisans made fine pottery, jewelry, and textiles. Merchants traded these plus cocoa, jade, and exotic feathers. Prosperity drew people from afar, growing its population and influence. Then, around the 9th century CE, Köpen showed strain. The thriving city declined, population fell, buildings crumbled. What caused such a fall? Experts see a perfect storm of troubles. Overpopulation stretched local resources. Forests cleared for farms led to erosion and poor soil. Climate change may have brought long droughts, making farming hard. Internal conflicts grew as resources dwindled. Competition among elites may have caused political instability. Eventually the city was abandoned, left to the jungle. The story of Köpen is a lesson in balance with nature. The Mock of Peru, art and ritual in the desert. The Mock civilization thrived from 100 CE to 800 CE, leaving a captivating legacy. This advanced society turned harsh land into a cultural center, pushing art, technology, and religion. The Mock were masters of ceramics, their pottery a window to their world. These were not simple pots, but art showing daily life and complex myth. Imagine a pot telling a story, each detail revealing beliefs of a lost civilization. The realism in portraits and scenes brings the past to life. But they did not stop at pottery. They were skilled metalworkers too. They made ornate gold and silver objects, showing technical skill. These were not just pretty, but symbols of power and religion. Their precision rivaled any civilization of the time. The landscape held massive adobe pyramids called huques. Huque del Sol and Huque de la Luna show their building ambition. These were not just big. They were the heart of society for ceremonies and rule. Their scale is amazing given ancient building limits. Religion was central, influencing all of life. Rituals were complex, sometimes involving human sacrifice. This might shock us, but was rooted in their beliefs. They saw sacrifices needed to please gods and keep balance. Living in a desert, the Mock faced challenges but thrived. They developed smart farm techniques like canals and terraces. This let them grow crops in inhospitable land, key to their rise and long life. Yet the Mock civilization fell. Reasons are debated, but point to environmental and social troubles. Severe El Nino events caused floods and droughts, stressing farms. This led to food shortages and social unrest. Internal conflicts may have added to collapse. Their story is one of amazing achievement and fragile existence. The The Mohenjo-Daro were a culture of the Amazon hidden cities in the rainforest. The Mohenjo-Daro were a culture thrived on Mohenjo-Daro Island in the Amazon Delta from 400 CE to 1400 CE. This advanced pre-Columbian society changes how we see ancient Amazonia. They were not simple jungle dwellers but built a complex society adapted to their environment. One impressive feat was their solution to seasonal flood. They built large earth mounds called TS, that lived homes above water. These mounds were engineering marvels, showing deep environmental knowledge. Some were huge holding whole communities with homes, ceremonial spaces and grave. The Mohenjo-Daro were also skilled artisans, especially in pottery. Their ceramics were art giving clues to their culture and beliefs. Pottery had complex geometric patterns and designs of people and animals. These likely had deep symbolic meaning linked to religion or social structure. Evidence suggests Mohenjo-Daro society had hierarchy. Burial practices and ceremonial objects show a stratified society. Some were buried with fine pottery and jewelry, others with less. This hints at social classes like rulers, artisans, and laborers. The Mohenjo-Daro were not just artists and engineers but skilled farmers. They practiced intensive farming with manioc imported. They also used fish farming and water control to manage their environment. These methods supported a large population in a challenging area, yet the Mohenjo-Daro civilization declined. Reasons are unclear, maybe environmental change or resource depletion. Overfarming and large populations may have strained the land. Conflicts with neighbors could also have played a part. Discovering Mohenjo-Daro changes our view of pre-Columbian Amazonia. We once thought the Amazon had only small scattered groups. Mohenjo-Daro shows complex societies were possible in the rainforest. Their story reveals human ingenuity in adapting to diverse environments. Cahokia, America's forgotten metropolis. Picture a city as big as London in 1250 CE, but along the Mississippi River. This was Cahokia, the largest pre-Columbian city north of Mexico. Near modern St. Louis, Missouri, it housed about 20,000 people at its peak. That made it one of the most populous places in North America before Europe arrived. The heart of Cahokia was giant earth mounds with Monk's Mound as the crown. This huge structure rose 100 feet, covering more area than the Great Pyramid base. Monk's Mound was the ceremonial and political center, where the chief likely lived and performed rituals. Building it took immense labor and organization, showing advanced social structure. Cahokia's city planning was sophisticated, laid out in a grid-like pattern. Large plazas in neighborhoods surrounded central mounds. A wooden wall nearly 2 miles long circled the city center for defense and symbolism. This urban design matched many European cities of the time. Farming was the backbone with corn central. The fertile Mississippi floodplain allowed intensive farming, feeding the large population and allowing trade surplus. They also hunted and fished, using local resources. Cahokia was part of a vast trade network across North America. Exotic goods like shells from the Gulf, copper from the Great Lakes, and mica from the Appalachians have been found there. This trade brought wealth and spread ideas over great distances. Religion and astronomy were important there. Circles of red cedar posts called woodhenges were likely used for star watching and marking ceremonies. Their alignment with solar events shows advanced sky knowledge tied to religion and politics. Despite its grandeur, Cahokia declined rapidly starting around 1300 CE. By 1400 CE, it was mostly empty. Reasons are debated. Environmental factors like deforestation, erosion, and climate change may have hurt farming. Social and political strife from resource limits and population pressure may have added to collapse. Disease might have swept the dense city. Cahokia's story is one of rise and fall in ancient America. The ancestral Pueblo A. Ns of Choco Canyon. The story of the ancestral Pueblo A. NS challenges what we thought about ancient American cultures. In the dry American Southwest from 850 CE to 1250 CE, they built a complex society rivaling any in the Old World. Chaco Canyon in modern New Mexico was the heart of their culture. There they built huge stone buildings called great houses. Pueblo Beneco, the largest, stood several stories high with hundreds of rooms, showing their engineering skill. But their achievements went beyond buildings. They made a wide road network spreading from Chaco Canyon. Some roads were over 30 feet wide, linking distant communities and dating trade across the region. The level of organization needed for this in harsh land is amazing. The Pueblo ANS understanding of nature was also impressive. They aligned buildings with solar events like solstices, showing advanced astronomy. This sky knowledge likely guided farming and religion. Speaking of farming, they were masters of desert agriculture. They developed smart irrigation to grow corn, beans and squash where water was scarce. This ability to farm in tough land let their population and culture grow. Central to spiritual life were Kiva's circular underground rooms for ceremonies and gatherings. These sacred spaces linked daily life with spiritual beliefs. Kiva's were a physical tie between earth and the spirit world. For centuries, Chaco Canyon thrived as a center of culture, trade and spirituality. But around 1250 CE things changed. The great houses were abandoned, people left. What caused this shift? Experts point to combined factors: long drought stressed farm systems. Overuse of resources like timber hurt the environment. These challenges with possible social unrest likely forced the Pueblo ANS to find new homes. Their story is one of adaptation and resilience. Nan Mad, OL, the Venice of the Pacific. Picture a city rising from the sea, its base not stone but coral and basalt. Welcome to Nan Mad OL, where Pacific Islanders defied the ocean to create their own Venice. Around 1200 CE on Pohnpei Island in Micronesia, the SA, Udilur dynasty began this ambitious project. Nan Mad OL was not built on land but on water. Ancient engineers made about 100 artificial islets, using huge basalt columns and coral linked by canals. But how did they move these giant stones, some weighing 50 tons? The nearest quarry was miles away, and they had no metal tools or wheels. They likely used drafts at high tide, floating stones to the site. Then they lifted and stacked these massive rocks with incredible precision. The city that rose was a true wonder. Nan Mad OL became the ceremonial and political center of the Udilur dynasty. Artificial islets held royal homes, tombs, temples and food preparation areas. One impressive structure was the royal tomb and a U, with its walls of stacked base, all rose 25 feet. Nan Mad OL was more than architecture. It was the heart of a complex society. Udilur rulers used it to unify the island's people. They set up centralized rule with strict social and religious ranks. The city layout reflected this order, with different islets for specific functions. Life in Nan Mad OL was unique. Travel was by canoe, not road. Canals were main streets, fish swam under houses, water lapped walls constantly. But maintaining such a city had a cost. The population pressed local resources hard. Feeding everyone needed intense farming and fishing. Over time, this likely caused environmental damage. By 1500 CE, Nan Mad OL's glory days ended. Reasons are debated, maybe internal strife from maintaining complex society, or environmental factors. Whatever the cause, the city was slowly left to jungle and sea. Today, Nan Mad OL is a UNESCO site recognized for unique architecture and culture. But it is more than a relic. It challenges what we think ancient societies could do. It shows how people adapted and transformed their environment in extraordinary ways. The kingdom of Aksum, Ethiopia's vanished empire. Imagine an empire so powerful it rivaled Rome, yet so forgotten it faded from history. Welcome to the kingdom of Aksum civilization that once dominated the Horn of Africa and beyond. Around 100 CE, as Rome peaked, Aksum rose as a formidable power. Axum was a busy hub of trade and culture linking Africa with Arabia and the Mediterranean. Ships carried gold, ivory and prized frankincense from Axum ports, bringing wealth and ideas from far lands. This was not just a local power Axum played on a global stage, but what really sets Axum apart are its monuments. Picture huge stone obelisks spacing the sky some over 100 feet tall. These were not just big rocks, but masterpieces of engineering and art. The obelisk of Axum the Grandest was a statement of power, showing what they could achieve. Now fast forward to the 4th century CE, something big happened in Axum. King Ezana embraced Christianity, making Axum one of the first states to officially adopt the faith. This changed Ethiopian history. The Aksumite script Ezai became the church language, still used in Ethiopian Orthodox services today. But Axum was not just about religion and big stones. They were economic innovators to minting their own coins, rare in sub-Saharan Africa then. This showed a sophisticated economy and well-organized state. For centuries Axum thrived, but like all empires it faced challenges. Climate change made farming harder, trade routes shifted by passing Axum Pool. Conflict with neighbors chipped away at its influence. Slowly Axum declined. By 940 CE the mighty empire faded into obscurity. But Axum's story did not end there. Its legacy lived on. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, born in Axum times, remained a cultural cornerstone. Jai's e-script preserved ancient knowledge. Those massive obelisks still and silent witnesses to Axum's past glory. Axum's tale is one of rise-fall and enduring influence. The Sogdians, Silk Road cosmopolitans. From bustling cities of ancient China to sun-baked markets of Persia, a group of savvy traders wove networks spanning continents. These were the Sogdians, masters of the Silk Road, true cosmopolitans of their time. For nearly 1500 years, from 500 BC to 1000 CE, they connected east and west. They were the invisible thread stitching together the ancient world's first global network. Picture a caravan with silk, spices and gold moving across harsh Central Asia. At its heart, you would find a Sogdian merchant fluent in many languages, navigating complex cultures. These Iranian people were not just middlemen, but cultural champions, thriving from China to the Mediterranean. Their homeland was in modern Uzbekistan and Tajikistan, cities like Samarkand as vibrant hubs. But their genius was in setting up communities far abroad. They had trade colonies in China, acted as interpreters, and served as soldiers in various armies. This wide presence let them exchange not just goods but ideas, technology and beliefs over great distances. One fascinating aspect was their religious flexibility. In an era when faith often defined identity, the Sogdians were remarkably open. They practiced Zoroastrianism but also embraced Buddhism, Mohenjo-Daro and later Islam. This adaptability mirrored their trade skill. They knew rigid beliefs could hurt business. The Sogdian language became a lingua franca of the Silk Road. Their script from Aramaic spread far, used by merchants for records, diplomats for treaties, rulers for decrees. Fragments of Sogdian text have been found from the Black Sea to the heart of China. In their art and architecture, we see a beautiful blend of Persian, Indian and Chinese styles. This visual fusion shows their role as cultural bridges. Their ability to mix diverse elements was key to bridging civilizations. But like all great networks, the Sogdian system eventually faded. The rise of the Islamic Caliphate in the 7th century changed the political and economic landscape, and Mongol invasions in the 13th century devastated Sogdian cities and disrupted trade routes. The once mighty network of Sogdian merchants diminished, their world role fading into history. If you enjoyed this journey through time, subscribe for more documentaries like this one. Which lost civilization fascinated you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring the stories that shaped our world.